The Sunday school lessons for April 27, 2025 are The Lamb is Worthy and Sing a New Song, Revelation chapter 5, verses 1 through 10. Welcome, viewers and subscribers, to my channel, Read with Me. I am Audrey. If you are new here, please know that this is an audio reading of the lesson with intermittent commentary. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this audio with others. Thank you for all that you do to help this channel grow one viewer and one subscriber at a time. And also, thank you so very much for helping me walk in my purpose. Verses 1 through 2. Then I saw in the right hand of him who sat on the throne a scroll with writing on both sides and sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a mighty angel proclaiming in a loud voice, "Who is worthy to break the seals and open the scroll?" Verse 1. A scroll is typically made from flattened papyrus or animal skins and is opened and closed by being unrolled and rolled. Revelation chapter 6, verse 14. The description of the document as having writing on both sides witnesses to its unusual nature. Most scrolls were written on only one side, but lengthy documents could take up both sides. The fact that this scroll has writing on it front and back signals its contents, breadth, depth, or both. Ezekiel chapter 2, verses 9 through 10. Naturally, we are curious about the scroll's contents, and various proposals have been offered. However, the focus of Revelation 5 is not on the scroll's contents, but on the fact that it is sealed with 7 seals. Scrolls were the common medium in the ancient world for important documents. These were often sealed to prevent someone from reading or tampering with its contents. A seal in this context would normally consist of hot wax poured over threads that tied the scroll in its rolled up state. Legal documents would have several seals indicating several witnesses. These witnesses often use a signet ring to press into the wax for self-identification. This made it impossible to open the scroll without detection of tampering. Many students believe that the number 7 stands for perfection or completeness based on how it is used elsewhere in the Bible. Verse 2. The dramatic action in the rest of this scene is set up by its proclamation of a mighty angel who is unnamed. The use of the word worthy makes his question not so much an open invitation as it is a rhetorical challenge. The term worthy in this context encompasses not just moral excellence, but also signifies someone who possesses the authority and power to break the seals. Verses 3 through 4. But no one in heaven or on earth or under the earth could open the scroll or even look inside it. I wept and wept because no one was found who was worthy to open the scroll or look inside. Verse 3. The search for someone worthy seems at first to fail. The mention of heaven, earth, and under the earth was a typical method of depicting the domains of heavenly beings, earthly beings, and the world of the deceased. But to focus on the scientific nature of each of the 3 locations is to miss the bigger picture. That bigger picture is anywhere you can think of. This description, therefore, highlights the entirety of the cosmos, as it does in Philippians chapter 2, verse 10. Every part of creation has been explored, and no one qualified has been found yet. Verse 4. People are described as weeping in many places in the Bible, but wept is an intense form of grief. The ancient Greek words translated as such are found elsewhere in the New Testament, only at Matthew 2 and 18, Mark 5 and 38, and Philippians 3 and 18. The sense can be one of the duration of the weeping or death of distress, as in Genesis chapter 46, 29, Judges 20 and 23, Ezra 3 and 12, and Ezra 10 and 1. One theory that might explain John's reaction concerns what he was told at the beginning of the throne room scene. There he was told that future events would be revealed to him, Revelation 4 and 1. But now, in the verse before us, John's expectations become frustrated. If John connects the scroll's contents with knowledge of future events and no one can open the scroll, then the promise will not be fulfilled. Even he, John, was not worthy to open the scroll or look inside. John's weeping is consistent with what he knows and doesn't know, but that is about to change. Verse 5. Then one of the elders said to me, "Do not weep. See, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has triumphed. He is able to open the scroll and its seven seals." Verse 5. John is comforted by one of the 24 elders present around God's throne. Someone is indeed worthy, the elder claims, and he refers to this person with two important designations. The first designation, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, comes from Genesis chapter 49, verses 9 through 10, where Jacob refers to his son Judah as a lion's cub and compares him to a lion that no one dares rouse. This metaphor is immediately followed by the promise that Judah will always have the right of rulership. The other designation, the Root of David, confirms that the Messiah is in view. This description comes from Isaiah chapter 11, verse 1 and verse 10, another text viewed as a prophecy about the coming Messiah. The specific title in Isaiah chapter 11 and 10 is the Root of Jesse, Jesse having been the father of David. Isaiah prophesied how the Messiah will bring justice and peace to the earth and unity to the nations. The designation, the root and the offspring of David, is explicitly claimed by Jesus near the book's end, Revelation 22 and 16. The one who is both lion and root has the right to open the scroll because he has triumphed. The narrative doesn't tell us at this point what that victory is, but the coupling of this word with the imagery of the regal lion implies a conquering king. The reader expects someone as mighty as a lion to enter the scene. Verses 6 through 7. Then I saw a lamb, looking as if it had been slain, standing at the center of the throne, encircled by the four living creatures and the elders. The Lamb had 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God sent out into all the earth. He went and took the scroll from the right hand of him who sat on the throne. Verse 6a. The reader first encounters the 4 living creatures and the elders in Revelation chapter 4, verses 4 through 6. The word creatures implies that these beings are neither humans nor angels. In the book of Revelation, the number 4 is symbolic of the entirety of the earth and its inhabitants. Combining that observation with the creatures' multitudes of eyes indicates that they are watching the entire earth. Nothing is hidden from them. This symbolizes the all-knowing nature of the Lord, his omniscience. If the original readers expected any particular animal to appear in addition to the 4 beasts, it would likely be a lion, per the previous verse. To the reader's likely surprise, however, the spotlight focuses on a lamb. This is a startling plot twist, especially given the lamb's outward appearance. It bears the marks of having been slain, yet it lives, given that it is standing. A metaphor is used here to represent Christ, who was killed but resurrected. The image of the slain lamb recalls the Old Testament's concept of blood sacrifice. Yet the lamb, in John's vision, didn't remain dead. It is depicted as alive, bearing visible, serious wounds. The New Testament uses the capitalized word lamb or lambs some 35 times, and all but two of those are in the book of Revelation. 6b. The description of the lamb combines the number 7, symbolizing perfection or completion, with horns and eyes, symbolizing divine knowledge over 2 Chronicles chapter 16 and 9 and Zechariah 4 and 10. The exact meaning of the 7 spirits of God is difficult to determine. Some students take this phrase to be the same as the sevenfold spirit depicted in Isaiah chapter 11, verses 2 through 3. This viewpoint allows a reference to the Holy Spirit, the third person of the Trinity. Another viewpoint understands the 7 spirits to refer to God's 7 angels of Revelation chapter 8, verse 2. Some ancient Jewish texts mention 7 archangels that stand before God's throne. The non biblical Tobit 12 and 15, for example, speaks of Raphael, one of the 7 holy angels, who presents the saints' prayers and stands before the glory of God. Translators have to make a choice here to translate as lowercase spirits rather than uppercase spirits reveals a belief that this does not refer to deity. That is the choice made by the translators of the New International Version. In either case, the fact that these spirits are spirits, capital S and lowercase s respectively, serve the Lamb's purpose shows his power and authority. Verse 7. The Lamb demonstrates his worthiness by receiving the scroll from the right hand of him who sat on the throne. All present, including John, undoubtedly watch in amazement as the Lamb does this audacious thing. However, this is not an act of thievery or usurpation, for God has been waiting for the Lamb. The scroll and its contents belong to the Lamb. Verse 8. And when he had taken it, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb. Each one had a harp, and they were holding golden bowls full of incense, which are the prayers of God's people. Verse 8a. With the transfer of the scroll, worship in heaven resumes. But now the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders bow before the Lamb. This is not to recognize a transfer of power that diminishes the authority of the one on the throne. Rather, it recognizes the Lamb's authority and his unity with the one on the throne. The number of elders, 24, is double the number 12, which may represent the people of God from both the Old and New Testaments. Israel, the covenant people of the Old Testament era, was comprised of 12 tribes. Christians, the covenant people of the New Testament era, are linked with the 12 apostles, who are the foundation of the church. Jesus himself combines the idea of 12 tribes with 12 apostles in his description of the future. 8b. Following the transfer of the scroll, new details unfold before John's eyes. The elders each now have a harp, which they presumably use for worship music. Given that harps were common as instruments of worship, harps are also mentioned in Revelation chapter 14 and 2 and chapter 15 and 2. The fact that the elders also hold golden bowls full of incense offers the reader a rarity in the book of Revelation. The two words, which are, these two words indicate that an explanation of the symbolism comes next. In several passages, the which are or is language explains symbolism with more symbolism. But that isn't the case here. given the unambiguous identification of the prayers of God's people. The context implies that the Lamb receives those prayers. He doesn't ignore them. Verse 9, and they sang a new song, saying, you are worthy to take the scroll and to open its seals, because you were slain, and with your blood you purchased for God persons from every tribe and language and people and nation. Verse 9a, worship of the Lamb includes singing. What the elders sing is not an old favorite, but a new song. This imperative is stressed throughout the Psalter. However, in that instance, it's the 144,000 redeemed who are singing, while the four beasts and the elders apparently listen. 9b. The reality that the lamb had been slain would have been perceived as a source of embarrassment by many, but the heavenly court praises the lamb not in spite of his death, but because of it. Christ's obedient death is humanity's victory over sin, guilt. The Lamb's unique obedience to the Father made him worthy to take the book and open its seals. The heavenly court then explains the implications of that death further. Primary is the truth that it purchased us for God. The verb translated purchase occurs about 30 times in the New Testament. It always refers to a purchase that involves an exchange. Such purchases can refer to paying a price to free someone, and that's the sense here. 9c. The song now recognizes the diverse nature of those who have been redeemed. The diversity is fourfold in that they come from every familiar group, every tribe, every language group, every demographic people, every ethnic group, nation. This heavenly mix is drawn from the entire world. Verse 10, you have made them to be a kingdom and priests to serve our God, and they will reign on the earth. Verse 10a, this half verse yields three minor problems regarding the original author's words per the various Greek manuscripts. The first challenge concerns the word them. In some manuscripts, it's the Greek word translated us instead. This may have been a scribe's intent to match that word to the diverse group in Revelation 5:9c just studied. The second minor challenge is that the phrase our God appears in only some manuscripts. The third challenge is that some manuscripts have the Greek word for kings instead of kingdom. Revelation 1 and 6 also has kings instead of kingdom in a manuscript variant, so that's evidence for the word kings. However, Exodus 19 and 6 speaks of a kingdom of priests, which seems to be the antecedent or pattern for the issue. In any case, we will be treated like royalty when God's kingdom is manifested in its fullest. Note the golden crowns the elders wear in Revelation 4 and 4, offering certain parallels and directions to the half verse before us, or Isaiah chapter 61, verse 6, 1 Peter 2, verse 5 and verse 9, and Revelation 20 and 6. 10b. To serve as a royal priesthood comes with a promise. God's people will one day reign on the earth. Christ made this promise explicitly in the letter to the church of Laodicea, and it appears elsewhere in the New Testament as well. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 12. This is an astonishing and humbling responsibility. Luke chapter 19, verse 17. Thank you so very much for listening. Join me soon for the next reading of the Sunday school lesson with intermittent commentary.